You guys, starting a business is not easy, and starting a business in a foreign country like Japan is even worse because not only you have to deal with growing your business and running it, but you also have to deal with the local regulations and law. So today I'm going to share with you all the things that you should know before starting a business or startup in Japan as a foreigner. A little bit of my personal background here. So I used to work for an insurance company for 1 year and a half as a full stack web developer, and on my free time I just coded my own personal project, which is a language exchange application. And so after 1 year and a half of side hustle, I just decided to quit my job 2 months ago, so in April 2019. And so I just decided to go full-time on my own project. Before starting your company or your own business here in Japan as a foreigner, you have to decide whether you want to go full-time, like 100% commitment, or you just want to keep it as a side hustle. For my own personal case, when I was working as a web developer in my previous company, I got like a 5 years engineer visa, and right now it's still valid for 3 years and a half. So the fact is that I wanted to switch to the visa which enabled me to get full-time on my own project, but it happens that maybe this is not worth it. The visa that I mentioned that you need as a foreigner to stay in Japan building your own business is called business manager visa, and the application process is kind of complicated and expensive, and it's only valid for 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years, depending on the performance of your own company. But the first time, usually you get for 1 year. And so I didn't want it to throw away my 3 years and a half engineer visa to switch to the business manager visa because one, I need to incorporate my company, and two, I need to get this business manager visa, which is really expensive. And so as a foreigner, to get this visa, there are two requirements. The first one is to get a rental office, like a physical office, and it cannot be a virtual office that you can use just for the address. It needs to be like a four walls office, like real stuff. And the second requirement is to get 5 millions of capital, or hiring two Japanese employees or two foreigners employees that own like the resident permanent in Japan. After 1 year, your visa is gonna be expired, so you have to renew it. And the renewal process is less difficult than getting one at the first place, but like they're gonna check for your company performance. So if your company doesn't do well in terms of like revenue or profits, your renewal request might get rejected. So it's kind of risky, but like even if you don't make any profits in the first years, as long as you get like a real solid business plan, you might get your visa renewed. This is only for getting the business manager visa. I didn't mention that to get this visa, the prior requirement is to set up a company, and the setup of the company process might be also time consuming and kind of expensive, but setting up a company is less troublesome than getting the business manager visa because you don't need like a business plan and all the other stuff, but still you still need to pay for the incorporation fee, getting set up, and contacting lawyers and stuff. So it's kind of expensive in total, and that's why I didn't want to go through this way because I'm still like a solo founder of my own application. So I don't need like all the office stuff. I can just work like at home or in a coffee. Before mentioning you guys the path that I did take for my own business, I wanted to mention some alternatives to the business manager visa. So the first one is probably the easiest way, is to get a Japanese co-founder that might be the CEO of your company, that will be the CEO of your company, and you work under him, and you can still keep your own visa. For example, for my own case, if I get like a Japanese co-founder, he can be the CEO of my own company, but I work for him like as a CTO. And then like on the agreement contract, we can say like in a few years I'm gonna switch, and I'm gonna be the CEO and change my visa status. But I feel like this way is not for me. I just wanted to go on my own way, and because I just came so far alone, so I still wanted to keep doing all the stuff alone. And like finding a Japanese co-founder or partner is really hard. Like you need someone that believes in your idea and all the stuff, like 100% commitment in the project. And so it's really hard to find this kind of profile, and that's why I just decided not to choose a Japanese partner. I mean, for now, because I guess one day I'm gonna need like a team to grow the business at scale. So, but yeah, for now I'm good alone, so I'm gonna still keep doing this way. And the second alternative is to get either a spouse visa, which means you get married to a Japanese, or get the permanent resident visa. So for the first one, if you're lucky enough to get like, if you're old enough to get married, and so maybe it's more convenient for you to get a spouse visa so that you can build and incorporate your company without having to go through all the requirements for foreigners. Because I didn't mention, but as a Japanese, when you start a business, you don't need all the business manager visa stuff. The only thing that you need is to incorporate your company, and it only costs you 1 yen. I mean, you need only 1 yen as the capital, but then you might need like some incorporation fee, etc. But you don't need like the office 5 millions of capital and stuff. And by getting this spouse visa, you're gonna be like a Japanese, you can incorporate your company for 1 yen. About the resident permanent, normally you have to stay in Japan for 10 years to get this resident permanent, like in a row. But there are some few shortcuts that you might get in order to get quicker this resident permanent, and it's called the highly skilled professional visa. And it's like a point base that you can accumulate based on your profile, like professional profiles, and with that you can get quicker your resident permanent within either 1 year or 3 years, because there are 2 levels of this highly skilled professional visa, the level 1 and the level 2. So for the level 1 you only need 70 points, and for the second level you need 80 points. So I'm gonna link like the website for the details of the professional high skill visa points criteria. But like, so I have on this paper like all the requirements. So there's 3 main categories. First one is like advanced academic research activities. So basically if you're like a researcher, and the second one will be like technical activities, and that was my case because I work for a company as an engineer, so I fall into this category. And second one, like this, the last one is management activities. So if you own a business, and depending on the performance of your company, you can get like some points. And the way it counts is that, for example, in my category, like the technical activities, getting stuff like a master degree or a bachelor degree can get you points. So by getting a master degree, I get 20 points. And being under 29 years old get me 15 points. Getting my Japanese GLPT N1, I get like 15 points. So in total, I get like 50 points. So I still need 20 points. There are other criteria like getting a Japanese university degree might get you like 10-15 points. But for my case, I didn't get any of that. So I have to rely on the other criteria, which is your annual income. And if I get like 20 points, I'm gonna get the level 1 of this highly skilled professional. And to get the other 20 points, I need 6 millions of annual income, which is $55K a year. So in my case, if I get a job like that pays me $55K a year, I can get the level 1 of the highly skilled professional visa and can get my resident permanent within 3 years. or if I can get like a job that pays me 8 million yen a year, which is like 73k dollars a year, I can get the level 2 of this visa, which can get me the like the resident permanent within 1 year. But I feel like, yeah, I didn't want to go back to the corporate world, and finding a job which pays you 8 millions, kind of, yeah, it's still difficult to find in Japan, even for like a software engineer. And I just didn't want it to like work full time. And even that, like at the end of 1.5 years or 3.5 years, I can get the resident permanent. But I just decided not to go through this way. So what I did is to keep my 3.5 years valid engineer visa right now, and stay in Japan by not incorporating my company, but just keeping us a side hustle. But the drawback is that if you want to keep this visa, the engineer visa, you need to work for a company, because this visa is connected with a company that sponsored you. So for my case, even if my previous company sponsored me this visa for 5 years, and according to the Japanese law, if you stay in Japan being unemployed for more than 3 months, you're like illegal. You cannot stay in Japan without having any stable income. After talking to consultants and like the people that know the field, they told me that like you need some kind of stable income. And so the first things that I thought about was like, oh, what if I incorporate my own company in France, like in my own country, and I work under them? But according to the law, you cannot do that, because your customer or like your corporate, like your employer, needs to be in Japan. So you cannot like ask a family member or yourself incorporating a company in your own country and work under this company in Japan. The contract between the employee and the employer needs to be like on the Japanese territory. So I didn't go through this way, and the only way that I can stay in Japan working on my own stuff is to find like some freelance gig, like engineering stuff that I have to work and to fill the requirement, which is like getting around 200,000 yen a month, working few hours, like the minimum hours required you to stay in Japan. And that's the way that I take it now. I'm still on the journey of like getting the freelance gigs and stuff. So to sum up a little bit my situation, I quit my job that used to sponsor me for a 5 years visa, so I still can use it for 3.5. And I'm gonna use this engineer visa to stay in Japan for another 3 years, and while having to work for like some freelance or remote work at home. And I'm gonna stay with this path and trying to grow my own business on the side while working as a freelancer. And if one day my business is getting enough traction, I'm gonna switch my visa to the business manager visa, so I can incorporate officially my company and like hiring people and etc. But for now, it's still small, so I'm gonna keep the way it is, and trying to grow it on the side while working as a freelance. To sum up a little bit this video, as a foreigner to start a business in Japan, you need either to find a Japanese co-founder or partner, and he or she will be the CEO and legal representative of the company, and you can work under him or her as a CTO or CMO. Or you can get like a spouse visa by getting married to a Japanese, and or you can get just the resident permanent, which might take 10 years. Or if you're qualified enough to get enough points, you can get the highly skilled professional visa, which has 2 levels, which can get you the resident permanent either within 3 years or 1 year. I hope this video was useful for some of you guys. I'm not like a lawyer or legal expert, so what I said might not be 100% correct. But I just want to share to you guys what I found out during my entrepreneur journey as a foreigner in Japan. So feel free to leave a comment, like if you have any useful insights, advices, or yeah, if you're an entrepreneur in Japan who wants to connect with me, feel free to connect and leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. And if you want to know more about me and about my language exchange application that I've built alone, feel free to follow my Instagram page down below. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.